A new chapter, young JOC, Kendra and the road ahead. Chapter 1, the conclusion of a period. Young JOC and Kendra had been through a long and difficult road, filled with ups and downs, but the time had finally come for them to go their own ways. They had both drifted away from each other after years of marriage, and it appeared that no matter how hard they tried, they were unable to return to the point where their love had once burned brightly. Their love had been a combination of passion, ambition, and heartbreak, but now it had reached a standstill. On a chilly winter morning, the divorce papers were signed, marking the end of a chapter in their lives. Young JOC, who had always had a tumultuous career, was also at a turning point in his personal life. Kendra, who is a strong and independent lady, has always been the emotional anchor for their family. They had worked together to build something wonderful, but sometimes, no matter how hard you try, things just don't work out. While young JOC was in his studio working on his most recent album, he couldn't help but think of the life he had created with Kendra. They were the couple that everyone admired. Their journey had been one of growth and transformation, just like young JOC's career. However, everything now felt different. The music that used to come to him so easily suddenly felt far away. The air was filled with a feeling of emptiness, but there was also another feeling present, a sense of relief. He was uncertain about where he would end up in the future, but he was aware that this was the start of something new for him, both in his personal life and in his career. However, the future was still uncertain, and young JOC couldn't shake the feeling of anxiety that came with moving on. Chapter 2, a new love blossoms. The media quickly caught wind of the hype around young JOC's divorce. As an artist, he had often been the focus of scrutiny in his personal life, and this time was no different. However, while the tabloids were having a field day, young JOC found comfort in an unexpected and more private place, his friendship with Tori, a lady who had been a part of his life for a long time, but in a very different way. Tori was a lively person who was full of ideas and creativity. Young JOC was attracted to her since she was not the kind of person who sought after fame or glamour. She had a soothing presence, and more than anything else, she helped him feel like himself again. The discussions they had were straightforward, but they were also quite meaningful. They discussed a wide range of topics, including music, dreams, the universe, and the infinite possibilities it holds. Before long, their friendship developed into something more than just a friendship. Young JOC came to the realization that his feelings for Tori had changed one night after spending an evening full with laughter and cherished moments together. After his breakup with Kendra, he was in pain, bewildered, and felt lost. However, Tori's presence helped him feel more clear-headed. He began to see her in a new light, not merely as a friend, but as a person who may play a significant role in the next chapter of his life. Young JOC was able to summon the confidence to express his feelings to Tori, but it took him a while to do so. He didn't expect her to respond right away, but he needed her to be aware. When he confessed, Tori smiled gently, and her eyes showed that she understood him well. She confessed, "I've been waiting for you to come to a conclusion. I have always been aware that there was something more between us, something that ran deeper." Those remarks were revelation for young JOC. He didn't know how much he needed someone who could really understand him. Tori was not interested in the flash and glamour of his world. She was there because she cared about him as a person, not as a celebrity. Chapter 3, Kendra's point of view. At the same time, Kendra was getting used to her new situation. Even when their marriage was going through a rough patch, she was always the one who kept everything together. She was proud of young JOC for everything he had accomplished in his career, but she had always felt that there was a part of her own identity that was missing. She had given up so much for their family, and now she was finally learning to prioritize her own needs. Kendra had spent enough time thinking about what had gone wrong, even if the termination of her marriage to young JOC had been terrible. The focus was not on assigning blame, it was on gaining knowledge. Over the years, she had witnessed how their differences became increasingly apparent, and how their aspirations and goals no longer matched. The divorce was not only the end of a partnership, it was also the beginning of her own path of self-discovery. Kendra had started to discover elements of herself that she had ignored for many years as she went forward. She had always been a mother, a wife, and a partner, but now she was learning how to be Kendra again. She began new activities, worked on personal projects that she had previously set aside, and surrounded herself with a supportive network of friends and family. She was discovering that there was life after heartbreak and finding happiness in her own achievements. However, despite all the success, Kendra could not deny that the pain was still there. It hurt to think about young JOC being with someone else. She was aware that it was unavoidable. Relationships change and individuals change, but it didn't make it any easier for her to come to terms with the situation. She had to face the reality that young JOC was no longer going to be a part of her future, at least not in the way they had previously envisioned. Chapter 4: The Initial Gathering. After a long and tiring day at work, young JOC and Tori made the decision to go to a small event at a nearby art museum one evening. The evening was filled with light discussion and the quiet hum of background music. Young JOC felt a sense of tranquility that he had been missing for a long time as he was socializing with friends and artists. He was not hiding from the world, and for the first time in a long time, he was not burdened by the memories of his previous relationship. He was just enjoying the moment with someone who made him feel like he was being listened to and understood. Kendra made an unanticipated appearance at that event. She was with a group of friends, but when their eyes met from across the room, an unusual quiet fell between them. For a minute, they were both standing on the edge of all they had once known, and the years they had spent together seemed to crumble into that single instant. Kendra had also moved on. She had devoted time to processing, mending, and developing a new version of herself. However, seeing young JOC with someone else brought up feelings that she did not anticipate. It was a gentle grief, not jealousy. At that time, she came to the realization that their love story had come to an end, and that the man she had previously known was now living a life that did not include her. Young JOC was uncertain about what to say or how to behave, so he approached her with caution. The tension between them was so strong that it could be felt, and they had both experienced a lot. They exchanged a few polite words before finding a quiet place to have a conversation. At first it was uncomfortable, but as the conversation continued, they started to talk about their sentiments in a more honest way. Kendra answered in a gentle voice, with a hint of emotion, "I am happy for you, JOC, you have a right to be happy. I never thought we would end up like this." Young JOC nodded, aware of the significance of her remarks. He confessed, "I never did that either. However, I believe that we have both discovered our own paths. Kendra, I have discovered a lot about myself. I hope you are experiencing the same thing." They experienced a moment of tranquility together for the first time in a long time. Although they were still connected to the past, they no longer needed to bear it together. They may each find their own way and move forth. Chapter 5: The Future That Lies Ahead. As time went on, young JOC and Kendra continued to live their lives apart from each other. They raised their children together with mutual respect, and their relationship as parents was more important than anything else. Although they were no longer the pair they used to be, they were still a family, and their bond was still intact. Young JOC's friendship with Tori continues to grow and develop. She was his support system, and together they set out on new adventures in both their personal and professional lives. Tori loved him not for his public persona, but for the person he was when the cameras were off. She understood the nuances of his life. Kendra also welcomed her independence. She had started a new connection with someone who valued her for who she had become. She was learning to live for herself, and not only for other people, and the past no longer had the same hold over her. Young JOC and Kendra had both found the fortitude to move on and create new lives for themselves, even if their paths had diverged. As they went on their separate journeys, they each learned that sometimes the greatest way to heal is to let go of the past and embrace the future.